Well, welcome to episode 22, I think, Helena. I believe it is. Yeah. So each month, the Emotion Code Divas, I am one of the Emotion Code Divas. Helena is the other Emotion Code Diva. We pick a topic, and so we are going to be interested after June in our viewers picking a topic. So I'm going to do a post about that. What would you like us to talk about? Because the Emotion Code Diva show is all about educating you, inspiring you, and then we heal and release some trapped emotions from a viewer. And I have a viewer, Carol Kitely, is going to be, I'm going to do some emotion code work on her today around phobia of driving. Yeah, so we will talk about that. Yes, my name is Dana J. Smithers, and I work with women. I do work with women entrepreneurs, but when I'm doing emotion code, I'm working a lot with women's issues. So I like to do a little bit of inner child work. I might be working with chakras, different type of energy. I may be working on relationships, sexual things, finances, just abundance in general. I'm a law of attraction abundance mentor. I help people break through those blocks of lack. And my Emotion Code Diva partner, Helena Jenikin, has a little bit different things in her wheelhouse. So, Helena, go ahead and introduce yourself today.
Good morning. I'm Helena Jenikin. I'm a certified emotion code practitioner. I'm also a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I help men and women that want to stop smoking. I am the stopsmokinglady.com. Also, I help people release weight and overcome what is that? Medical anxiety. That's my specialty, overcoming medical anxiety, fears and phobias, and releasing anxiety.
And I think
I
next week we're going to do medical anxiety. So I know you work a lot with dentists and doctors,
right.
patients, and people that are a bit terrified of that. So stay tuned for that one for next week.
And actually, one of my very first clients in my office was a lady who was
Oh,
um, afraid of driving, and very specific, afraid of driving wherever there was a bridge
yeah.
or any height. I'll talk a little more about that later.
Yeah, actually, when you say that, I remember someone. I live in a garage where we go down and down and down. It's kind of a winding thing, and she started getting like having a panic attack, and she goes, "Whoa, I don't know if I can do this." It's like, okay, well, I'll just go really slowly. But she was so that was that phobia thing, right? Like just something there, and also she didn't like she would do anything to avoid a bridge. Yeah, so very interesting. All right. Helena, what we like to do, thanks very much for that introduction, is, we know we have some loyal viewers, but there are also people that are watching for the first time. They might find us on YouTube or they may come across the TC Divas page on Facebook. So we just kind of like to go over a little bit about how an emotion code session works. And we always like to give a tribute to this fellow, Dr. Bradley Nelson, who wrote the emotion code. He also wrote the body code, which is another more in-depth type of healing, energy healing work that you can do. But anybody can buy this book. You can do emotion code on yourself if you want to give it a try. A lot of people do. But Helene and I are both certified, so we can definitely take things to a much deeper level. And as we said, just mentioned that we each have a little bit different specialties with that as well. So Helena, let's just jump right in and we'll just say hello to Natasha from cloudy Rumford, Essex, England. I don't know if our Sylvia will be watching us, but that's Natasha Paula Samuel. And Linda Edgecombe is watching, so shout out to Linda because she hasn't watched this show before. And Carol Kitely, who I'll be doing the session on, is actually in Poole, Dorset, UK as well. So we're getting a lot of international viewers, which we love, of course. So pass it on. All right, let's go ahead and just walk through an emotion code session. So the first thing that we do, now I'm working with Carol Kitely today, so I had to ask for
Per
permission.
permission, yes, Dana, your permission. We always need our clients' permission to work with them energetically. We just can't work with people randomly that we see on the street or your neighbor or even your husband.
Yeah.
We need their permission.
right. And also, if we are working on pets, which I like to do, I like to work on dogs and cats, we have to ask the permission of the owner, even though, sometimes we'll just see a dog, upset in the street or something, and the owner getting mad at them. And I always just want to say, whoa, hang on, let me do a session for you. But we can't. We have to get their permission to do that. And so once we've got their permission, we're asking them if we can be their proxy. So what does that mean, Helena?
It's their proxy. They're giving up their stumble wrong this one.
Okay, all right. They're allowing us.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're allowing us to do the work on ourselves in place of them, right? It's just the same way that you can do a proxy at an AGM.
Right.
You tell people what your vote is, and somebody does the voting for you. So we're actually going to do the work because Helena and Helena does have an office in Cobble Hill on the island. She will see clients in her office because she does hypnosis as well. I have an office. I don't ever bring clients into it. I either do it by phone or Skype or sometimes Zoom, or even have a client I do FaceTime with. So we'll have their permission, but we will become their proxy because they'll do the work on us. And so what we're going to ask them, so with Carol Kitely, who I'll be working with today, I asked her what her severity was.
Yes, severity. We'd like to always get an indication of what they think their severity of the issue is, and we have a scale of 1 through 10, 10 being severe. Our intention is to lower the number that they have, or even bring it to a 0. Now, if someone says their issue is a 1, 2, or 3,
yeah.
That's not something that we really want to work on. We're looking to work on something that they feel is a 7, 8, 9, or 10. But we will always check with their subconscious mind to get their subconscious mind number, the severity. And you were holding up a lemon there,
I was,
Dana.
because Dr. Brad in his book talks about trapped emotions energetically being sometimes the size of a lemon or the size of a cantaloupe. So what, Helena is talking about the severity. So imagine, and sometimes with chronic pain can show up and we can remove that. You can have think if you got 10 compressed lemons in your back or down your spine, or a lot of people get lower back pain, or they can get migraines. So think of just having all these lemons in your head and they're all crammed together and it's causing a lot of stress. So that severity is from 1 to 10. So Carol Kitely has told me that her stress or her severity is a 10 plus.
Good one to work on.
That. Yeah. So I just want to give a shout out to Misty Anderson. Hello, Misty Anderson, Alaska Misty. We always love that you're watching. Hashtag Alaska Misty. And once we've got the severity, we're going to do something that we call muscle testing.
Muscle testing. Muscle testing is what I do. I'll show what muscle testing looks like. I put the 2 fingers together like this. I link them, and I have an agreement with my subconscious mind that when I link my fingers together and I pull them, tug on them, and they get stuck, the answer is a yes. And if my fingers kind of slip apart, the answer is a no. And so you'll see, if you see me do the emotion code, I'm doing this, and then that's a no, that's a yes. But there's many different ways to do muscle testing. And Dana, how do you do yours?
Well, I do mine, and in the book, Dr. Brad's got about 6 different ways that you can do it. Some of you may know the standard test for muscle testing because it's a baseline test. We want to see if you are muscle testable, right? So you may have seen that one where someone holds out your arm and you say your name. My name is Dan, and my arm stays up because we have this, internal guidance system that never lies. And that's where the subconscious comes in, and that's a yes. If I said my name is Helena, then my arm's going to go down. So that's a baseline muscle test. So how I do my muscle testing is I put my index and thumb together, and then I take my 2 fingers, index and middle finger, from the other hand. So that's a yes, nice and solid, and that's a no for me. So Helena and I can do this pretty quickly when we're going through the emotions. So a little bit about, so what are we checking for? I mean, we are doing what?
We're checking for, with the emotion code, we're looking to release negative trapped emotions that are stuck in the people's bodies and their physical system. And what we're doing is when we find, we'll ask on this chart, there's 60 negative trapped emotions, and they're divided into two columns, A and B, and 6 rows. So the questioning will go like this. Is there a negative trapped emotion that we can release today regarding this particular issue? Yes. Is it in column A? Is it in column B? Is it an odd row or an even row? And then we'll come down to a particular set of 5 emotions, and then we'll ask individually which one of the emotions it is.
Right. So Helena, just hold that chart up. So let's say it's column A and it's row 2. So then each of us would go through, I would say, is it anxiety? No. Is it despair? No. Is it disgust? No. Is it nervousness? Oh, so that might get a yes on that. Is it worry? No. Now, if I get nervousness and worry together, so that's what Dr. Brad calls a psychic trauma, when 2 emotions are trapped together. So we're going to release it. We're going to ask the question if it belongs to you, or if it belongs to you, no. Okay, then we're going to ask, does it belong to your mother or father? Because you can actually inherit these emotions, and you can actually inherit them down the line. They can be from great, 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 on and on. The furthest I've ever gone is 10. And what we're doing is releasing it from all those generations, wherever they are energetically. I don't have to know that. We don't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure these things out. What happened to that person? What we do is release them. So Helena and I are not super interested in what your story
is.
Yeah, because we want you to stop with the story, right? Same with the phobia or the fear or the whatever it is you're trying to work through, because we want you to see a new way to look at things. So energetically, when you start every day, you've got new momentum going on. So, a lot of people want to hang on to that story because that's who they think they are, who they have to be. And we're going to tell you that you don't. You're not that person anymore. You are whoever you are from this moment forward. And all we know is right now, and right now.
And one of the easiest ways to start releasing the story is by detaching from it. So it's not my fear of driving, it's a fear of driving.
Right, exactly. And that's what you can talk about the NLP around that. All right, so we understand that, we do that, and then, so what happens is from the subconscious, whatever the trapped emotion is, it rises up. And Helena and I, and every practitioner has magnets. And the purpose of the magnet is that we're going to, oh, you got that cool one, a little bit different one today. Yeah, we all have different magnets. But we're going to demagnetize. And there is we have a lot of energy points in our body, but the way we do it is, if we're not with the person, then we're going to do 3 swipes over the head. And we start at using the governing meridian, which is just above the lip, and we go to the back of our head. So we do that 3 times to release it. And what we're doing is, as we're pulling that trapped energy up, we're demagnetizing it. So once we demagnetize it, that is gone. Now, can that same trapped emotion show up again in another situation? Absolutely. And that to me is one of the big learning points about emotions, is that until you actually get to that point where you release it, it's not a constant trigger with you. You're going to have it over and over and over. So it's going to show up, something's going to trigger it, and there it goes again. Right? So on and on that can happen. So that's when we use the magnet. And then something that's very important for us as practitioners is we need to be
hydrated.
Exactly.
Water.
Yep. All right. I have my little bee mug here.
Oh, that's nice. I have my structured water. One day I'll talk about structured water.
Okay. That sounds like a good one. All righty. So I'm going to go ahead and work on Carol. So she has said that she is afraid of being stuck or trapped in traffic, and even at red lights, she panics. So this is a 10 plus, and I'm going to go ahead and just work on her. And yeah, I'm just going to unplug, and then I will just start to work on here while you talk about NLP and how that helps get removing those phobias or fears that we have.
Excellent. So NLP is an acronym
Right.
for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Perhaps you've heard of it. It is very commonly used with hypnosis practitioners in their offices. You can become an NLP practitioner. And what happens is it is a way of using language and also visual images to change the perception, feeling of different things, such as fears of driving. Now, there's different techniques in NLP that can be used that allows a person to uh, really change the way they feel about when they think about a situation. And what works really great is it works so fantastic with the emotion code. The emotion code removes the trapped emotions and releases them. But NLP is one that really works well with the conscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is, if you take this image of an iceberg, representing the mind, the conscious mind, this part, little teeny weeny part up here, this 5 or 10% above the water showing, which we think that we are using and is controlling our lives. But really what's happening is the subconscious mind underneath here is what is in charge. And that is where our beliefs lies, our emotions lies, our imaginations, our memories lie. So with NLP, what we are looking to do is understand how a person perceives the world, and people perceive the world all differently. So we'll be looking for if the person is more of a visual person, using visual language. Are they an auditory person, or they need to hear information to learn and change? Or are they more of a touchy-feely kinesthetic person, a more feeling person? So once that is established, then we know how to proceed. There's several techniques in NLP. One of them is called the fast phobia cure. It works miracles. It is a technique that can take only a few minutes, allowing a person to rapidly change how they feel about a situation. It's used for PTSD very successfully in conjunction with hypnosis. It's used for, I used it personally for overcoming my fear of swallowing pills. I had a great fear of swallowing pills. I just didn't want to do it. And I had a session, I mean, it must probably took in about 10 minutes. And I got up and took I think an Advil or something, and I just swallowed that whole. And then there was no fear. And what's interesting is when I think about needing to go swallow a pill, if I should have to, I'm not scared. I don't get all worried about it. And it just now is different in my brain. So the fast phobia cure is wonderful for that. There's another technique as well that involves the way we take a look at something, imagining the image small, larger, draining color out of it, changing the sound of it, the feel of it, using all those different what we call modalities. And through just a process, it's a very quick process, again, 5-10 minutes maximum. People feel differently when they think about the situation. Their fears go away. And there is also some other techniques, perceptual positions, which is a fantastic technique that just helps us look at the situation differently. With hypnosis, we can use it when there's a heightened emotional state, and we can trace it back to the original cause, the original sensitizing event is what we call it. But NLP is wonderful for releasing fears and phobias, changing things. I've used it in airports where I've sat beside somebody who is really nervous flying, just doing quick little NLP techniques, allowing them to be calm and content for their flight. Although my go-to one now is the emotion code. The emotion code is so fast. I had a client in the UK UK clients for both Dana and myself, and she was afraid of flying. But she wasn't going to be flying for maybe another year and a half. But she was sitting at home worried about this flight. Well, we did an emotion code session on a couple of other things, and then just at the end tagged on that. And she says now that it's been about a month. She can see ads for flying and flights, and she's thinking about her vacation, and there's no more worry about the flight. It was so quick, so easy. So, Dana, you're complete?
I am complete, but I'll just actually give the viewers an update about the snake episode.
Oh, yes, that was last week's
Last week
episode.
you worked on me. Well, right away, Facebook page, there's this big story about this snake, right? And I looked at it, and then the next morning I was listening to a meditation, and by a fellow named Joel Goldsmith, the founder of the Infinite Way, and he talked about the illusion and error of looking at things, saying, well, you could look at that broom and you might think it's a snake. Okay, right? Like, anyway, definitely my fear has decreased. And I even thought about that. I didn't go to that YouTube thing on that big python, but I thought, well, there's, it's something you said last time, right? I mean, these are all God's creatures, and if you think of it, I mean, especially in the jungle, I mean, even in our world, right? We eat animals, or most people do. So it's just kind of a way of survival for some, but for me, it was just like now I'm even more calmer talking about it. You can see like last week. So, when we do these sessions, I just did this one on Carol, we're doing it fairly quickly on the show. I mean, I go through kind of a ceremony, a ritual. I do a prayer. I usually take out an angel card. I get very centered, as Helena does as well, because we are setting the intention that we can help, and we are asking source, a higher power, to help us, whatever is in that subconscious, to remove that. So with Carol, what I removed from her, I'll just go ahead and talk about that. So as I say, that these are quick sessions. If you work with us, the minimum session we'll do is for 30 minutes. So usually one thing, even though you'll think that's what the main issue is, it could be, but often Helena and I will peel down that rose until we get to that place where, there's just that rosebud, and there's just something there that you're still holding on to that can still be released as well. So for Carol, what came up, the first one was self-abuse. Now, I find more often than not, I've only ever had one person that I've worked on that was physically abusive to herself, like she had a physical act that she would do. Most people, I find, the self-abuse is negative self-talk, and Carol might be saying things to herself like, oh, what a scaredy cat, or what a dummy to be afraid of this or that, right? So that self-abuse, we got rid of that. The next trapped emotion that came up is low self-esteem, so I removed that. And then crying came up, so I removed that trapped emotion in her subconscious of crying. And then pride came up, and anxiety came up, but the anxiety was inherited. And Carol, that was inherited from your great grandmother on your mother's side. So that's where I do from generation, great grandmother, grandmother to mother to Carol. And then creative insecurity was released. The next one that came up is lust. And I often think with people that, some of the emotions that come up may not seem to have anything to do with what we're trying to release. I never question them, neither does Helena. If that's the word that comes up and that's what we're shown, then we just, as I just say, we just go with it. But lust, I checked, was that a sexual thing? And I got a no on that. So it's just something that you're lusting after. Something in your life. And for you, as far as driving goes, it could just be lusting after the luxury of not having to be afraid of driving or red lights or stopping or any of that. And then the last emotion that came up was vulnerability. So I released that for you as well, Carol. And Carol may or may not be watching. She's new to the show, so I'm not sure if she knew how to actually log on. But anyway, she'll watch the replay and she can hear the emotions that I did remove from that.
So Dana, I during my little talk there,
Mhm.
I didn't actually go into the little case study I had with my client who came in that was afraid of driving in heights, especially. And during the hypnosis session, because I didn't know the emotion code at that time, she regressed back to a time when she was on a bridge with her father, who was teaching her to drive, and he tended to be an angry person.
Mm, yeah.
And so they were on the bridge and something happened there and he was getting really, really angry at her and she was getting really tense. So what was happening is whenever she found herself as an adult in a situation of heights, emotionally she was being triggered
Yeah.
back to the time that she was in the car with her father because that had not been cleaned up. The emotions got trapped then. Once she had the awareness
Right.
of that and she was able to see um, it from a much larger perspective back here about what was really going on and so doing some forgiveness work about herself and releasing her father who was no longer here,
Yeah.
it all rippled through time and it just went away. And now she has freedom to drive wherever she wants, whenever she wants, and not relying on others to drive her.
Oh, that's great. And what you said there about, there are other things that Helena and I do, as every motion code practitioner has their own method and way of delivering this emotion code and the healing. And, Helena has all these other gifts in her toolbox as well. But, there's always our goal is to, yes, heal and release, but we then would, the best case scenario would be you then having some insights into something and being able to move forward, right? It's not because we're working together here. It's not that we're just going to go ahead and do this. Like, because one of my sacred gifts is teaching and knowledge, I'm often suggesting a website to somebody or suggesting a book they read or something like that. Because releasing the emotions is one big part of it. But just like what you said, she then had that insight, and it's like, okay, so I don't have to keep doing that. And then she's going to start, from a law of attraction perspective, once you start to feel better about it. Like, I'm not saying I'm loving snakes, okay? I'm not saying that, but I feel better about their role in the universe. I'm not so panicked when I talk about them. So, with someone with Carol, hopefully, her driving, it will cause way less anxiety. But, if she wanted to explore that further, we could, because there is a reason. Something got triggered. It's what you just said, Helena. Something got triggered in there that's still staying with her in that subconscious.
That's right.
And
Actually,
that, yeah.
I actually now remember I had another lady who was afraid of driving on highways. She could
Mm,
drive the back roads, but not on the highways.
yes.
And during the session I was doing emotion code we'd spent about an hour and a half in my office together, so I was able to do some deeper work. And her conscious mind, that little part up here,
Yeah.
all of a sudden remembered, because it was trapped in her subconscious mind, remembered an incident when there was a car accident that she had been in,
Oh,
and she had taken responsibility for it for all these years and had hidden the truth about it and had blamed herself for it.
oh,
But when
wow.
she re-looked at it consciously, she realized that the other people in the vehicle had also participated
Yeah.
in the result, and she was able to do the
Oh, what a
forgiveness work.
nice release.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I like to see people for an hour for the first time instead of a half an hour, so we can do a little bit deeper work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just great. And usually the 30-minute sessions that I do are usually check-ins with people. So most people will get 2 sessions and then maybe even 3 sessions, depending on what we're working on. And some people will find that it really works for them and they need more help. So just a shout out to Jewel Neve is watching as well, and Dawn Squares. Hey, Dawn. She says that's me, so I'm not sure what that's me. That might be highway driving or something that we were talking about. But yeah, I have a stepdaughter who is afraid of changing lanes on busy traffic. Like she will go around and she'll make as many rights as she needs to get where she needs to go because she doesn't like switching lanes. So lots of people have this phobia. So anyway, thanks so much, Helena. I know that people are learning a lot from this show. So I'm going to do a post out there for coming up shows. If there's something that you maybe want us to go back to, or you'd like us to work on you've got something that is a trapped emotion, then we can definitely do that. Oh, Dawn says it is highway driving. Well, we can help you with that, Dawn. Anyway, so next week, we're still, for month of June, is still phobias. So Helena definitely is the expert in attracting medical anxiety clients. And plus she works in a building that has doctors and dentists and that, so it's perfect for her. So Helena will do the education piece about that. I will be working on someone who lets us know. You can TM us or just let us know in our Facebook page, TEC Divas, if you'd like us to work on you. And then the final episode in June is going to be about public speaking. So if you have a fear of speaking in public, then step up and we can do that with you. Just a little bit of research I was doing for this whole thing on fears and phobias. There's a website. It is fearof.net, and it's got 100 fears and phobias that people have, and some of them are just absolutely fascinating. I didn't know people had phobias around some of these things. And then it's also got the top 10 phobias and fears. So maybe there's a phobia or something that you'd like us to work with. We would like to know that. So, there's Carol Kitely. She finally got on. That's just great. Yeah, so Carol, if you just got on now, you can go back and listen to the things that I did remove. Yeah, she has a lot of anxiety, so we can PM there, Carol, and see if you do want to do a session with me. So I'm just going to say Jewel has said something here. Oh, nice. So Jewel had the fear of riding in the front seat as a passenger. And she says, not any longer after releasing trapped emotions. And I think Jewel, I believe she's not a certified emotion code, I was going to say diva, but practitioner. But I know that she does have the book and she does do some of this work on herself. So you can do that, right? It's just that, yeah, Helena and I offer different things. So that's it for the show today, episode 22. Amazing. Yeah. So thanks so much, everybody. And please share. And again, because we're fairly new at this, I think we've got about over 200 people that have liked our page, but we'd love to really ramp that up this year and get to 1,000. That would be just a great thing for us, not for our ego, but for, well, okay, we are divas. All right.
It's okay. Sharing the information because we both, Dana, have a desire to help heal people, and this technique really helped me and probably helped you, and that's why we wanted to delve further into it, become certified.
Yeah, and that's why we're doing this, right? Educate, inspire, and heal and release trapped emotions. But we'll always do a little bit of an education piece. Sometimes it's Helena on hypnosis, NLP. I might be talking about law of attraction. I might even be talking about sacred gifts. We don't know. We'll just see what comes up with. The show is fairly fluid, although we do, we have certain things we do, but when it comes to what we're actually going to talk about, at this point, we'd like some input from you. So that's it for now. Have yourselves an awesome day. And remember that this is a new day. This is a start of a new day. So whatever happened yesterday doesn't have to be part of your day today, unless it was simply awesome. Then carry on, right? Okay, bye for now.